everyone, it's Holly and I'm here with my winter / fourth quarter book haul for 2020, and I'm really cold, so I got my blanket. It's a Murphy cat blanket that my brother and sister-in-law got for me. See, it's not weird because they bought it, but it's actually a really nice blanket. And I think I have an actual Murphy cat. Do you want to come up here? You just want to stretch? Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. Hi. So I am filming this before December ends, but is that a song? But so there are 2 book boxes that have not come yet. My fairy loot, honestly, it usually doesn't come until the end of the month, and at this point I'm guessing it's not going to come until January anyways. My Owlcrate was supposed to come today. It has not arrived yet, and with the way like the post office has been lately, I just don't know when it's gonna come, so I'm not gonna put off filming this. I forgot a bit book. Hold on. I'm sorry, Murphy, you have to move. But I have my list, and this, I always like talk about numbers because I think it's interesting. This assumes that I'm getting my Owlcrate book, but I'm just not gonna update it, and if it comes before I edit this, I'll try to like put it in or whatever. So I ended up buying 38 books. I have either read previously or since read 22 of them. So over half, which I think is really good, although you'll see like 12 of them, it'll make sense. 16 are unread. So of them, 10 were new releases. 7 of those new releases came from book boxes, and 28 were backlist titles. So we'll start with the 3 new releases. 3. I know numbers. The 3 new releases that did not come in book boxes. So I picked up Dear Ava by Ilsa Madden Mills. This, I think it's like high school, but I think it's kind of like new adult. I think it might be kind of a bully romance. I'm trying to broaden my romancy horizons, so we'll see. And I've heard good things about this, so I decided to pick it up. And I would just prefer to read books physically than ebooks, so I figured whatever. And then the other 2 were pre-orders. So one is Kingdom of Sea and Stone by Mara Rutherford, which is the sequel to Crown of Coral and Pearl. I haven't read this yet. I need to read it. I really want to read it. This is a duology. It's young adult fantasy. I feel like nobody talks about it, but I really, really liked the first one. Great sister relationships. Loved it. And then The Brightest Night by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and this is signed. I think all of the like pre-orders, no matter where you got them, were signed. This is the 3rd book in her origin series. I have since read it. I actually got the audiobook on NetGalley. The book box books. So let's do, oh my, what kind of light bulb is in this lamp? I didn't even know I had any light bulbs that like actually gave off heat. So 3 that I ordered special boxes. 1 is more the book. There was no box really. And that is How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories by Holly Black. And I picked the Owlcrate edition. I think Fairy Loot did one too. And then I did buy from Fairy Loot their special edition of Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahiran. But as part of this, you were able to order they reprinted their special editions of Serpent and Dove. I wasn't a Fairy Loot subscriber when they did this, so I did buy both of them. And I have not read Blood and Honey yet because I have since learned that this is no longer a duology, and that kind of made me angry. And so I do still plan on reading it and everything, but now I'm gonna wait longer. It was one thing when it was a duology, but now it's not. Then I got Among the Beasts and Briars by Ashley Poston. I don't know what like any of these are about, but this came in a book box. Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco, which I have read a book by her before, and I didn't particularly like it, so we'll see. But I do really like the detailing on this. Was These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. This, I believe, is a Romeo and Juliet retelling. Isn't this like the prettiest pink? I think it's pretty. And it's like the 20s but Shanghai. It does sound really interesting, but it is part of the series, and I don't like waiting for series, so I probably won't read it for a while. But it does sound interesting, which I don't typically like Romeo and Juliet stories, so, but I am interested in that one. And then the last book box one is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This is another one. Oh, maybe this is just a standalone. I can't remember. There's too many book box books that I'm getting them confused now. But I have gotten a decent amount of standalones, which I do appreciate. Moving on to other books. So I did pick up some historical romances. So one was Trouble at the Wedding by Laura Lee Gerke. I picked this up at Goodwill. I went there one day. I was looking for like books with pretty step backs, and I have read some Laura Lee Gerke before, so I decided to pick this up. And then I picked up Lady Claire Is All That, and it's Hard Out Here for a Duke by Maya Rodell. This is books 3 and 4 in the Keeping Up with the Cavendishes series. So I bought books 1 and 2 earlier this year, and I recently read the first one, Lady Bridget's Diary, and really enjoyed it. Every time I read a Maya Rodell book, I'm like, I really like her books. So I decided to just complete the series. I bought these off thrift books so that then I can read the whole thing. So some other Goodwill purchases that were kind of impulse purchases were Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I just saw it and I was like, you know what? I have to. I bought Warbreaker last year and I still haven't read it. And I kept telling myself, you're not going to buy more Brandon Sanderson until you read a book by him and you know you like it. But I have heard really good things about this, and it was such a good deal. I had to do it. She says justifying her choices. It's fine. And then I bought this paperback copy of Shopaholic to the Stars by Sophie Kinsella. I do already own this in hardcover, but yes, I did just buy the paperback because it was cheap. I have no shame. And then I bought Spiritbound by Rochelle Mead. I own the Vampire Diary or Vampire Academy books 1, 2, and 3 in these editions, and I have been wanting to like finish the collection. So when I saw this one, I was like, oh, perfect, then I can get it for a good deal for just like a couple of bucks. And last is Queen of Nothing in the original editions. And it's so funny because I actually put these on my Christmas list, and I'm literally in Goodwill talking to my dad and I'm like, oh, they have a book that's on my Christmas list. And I'm like, do I buy it? Do I then tell everybody? And so he's like, just buy it, Holly, and like, if you get it, you get it. And so that's kind of how I'm looking at it, is if by some like happenstance, because there's so many books on my Christmas list, if somebody buys me this, then I'll probably just return it, like donate it, not return it, you know, donate it back to the Goodwill. So they just made $3 off me. Whatever, it's fine. And then I got some other books. So I did get Everything Between Us by Mila Ferreira, whose real name is apparently Sarah Fine. This is a new adult romance that I had read a couple times a few years ago, and I've wanted a physical edition of it. I personally really like the mental health rep in here. The main character has really bad, like the heroine Stella, she has really bad anxiety, and I find her anxiety experience and my anxiety experience are very similar, so I really like it. So I finally bought a physical edition of it. I have literally had this in my cart 15 times probably on Amazon, and that is Wolf Song by TJ Klune, because I've heard good things. I've heard it's probably gonna make me like bawl my eyes out, but it's fine. So I've heard really good things about TJ Klune and the series especially. They're wolves, like werewolves, I believe, and it's male romance. So that's what I did, and I'm hoping to get this read in January because I've wanted to read it for a long time. I'm very excited. And then I got 2 books for future Smash or Trash videos. So one is Geekerella by Ashley Poston. So she shows up twice here. I've never read a book by her, but now I own 2. And so I am going to be doing a Cinderella Smash or Trash. That should be the next one. And so I decided to pick this up, and I've heard good things about this. YA Contemporary and I have been having a difficult time this year, So we'll see if this continues that trend or changes it. And then I got Stars Above by Marissa Meyer. Now one, I did just want this for my collection. I've actually read it before. I got it from the library and I read all of the short stories because this goes with the Lunar Chronicles. But one of these stories in here I want to do a reread and do it for a future Smash or Trash. So I figured it would be better to own a copy, right? I don't know. And then I got 2 nonfiction books. So my plan in 2020 is to do some more developmental work, like self-development. And so that is going to look like 2 things. One is having one self-development book every single month. I have already decided what they're going to be every month. I already own the book for January, and then I bought the book for February. And some of them will be rereads. Some will be, most of them are new reads, but they're all different kind of areas. Like some are financial, some are personal development, some are writing, because I think writing is interesting and I would like to do it. February, mine is actually a writing book, and that is, it's sort of writing, it's like writing related. And that is 2K to 10K by Rachel Aaron. So I actually already own this as an ebook, but I decided to buy the physical copy because I would prefer to do my developmental reads with a physical edition, so it's easier for me personally to take notes. Also, I really like Rachel Aaron as an author, so anything I can do to support her, I will gladly do. And so I have read this before, but I think I'm in a different headspace now and I'll get even more out of it. And I think that what she talks about in here, while very helpful for writing, I think in a lot of ways can also be helpful to other aspects of your life, from what I remember. And then I also plan on reading The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. So this is, I think of it as kind of a devotional. I've never done a devotional. My mom has it. Like she has a devotional where you read something every day. For that, it's like to meditate on, like, I don't know if, like, my mom would probably hate the word meditate, talking about that with religion, but like, you know, think, sit, pray, whatever. But I think of this as something like that, where you basically get like a passage every single day. So this has 366 days, because obviously some days there's 366, or some years there's 366 days in a year. And there's just like, it's just a 1-pager. And I know some people read it every year and they get something out of it different every single year. And so this is something I want to incorporate into my life for next year. And again, on my like furthering journey of developing myself, I also do want to get more nonfiction back into my reading life. That's definitely taken like a downturn towards the end of 2020, and that makes me really sad because I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of things. And then we have 12 more books, and they're right there. So I had been thinking about these books for a while, and then I was like, you know what, one of them I was like, it was my favorite when I was younger, when I was in high school, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and buy it. And I found it, and then I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just get all of the ones that I remember reading and really loving, which then turned into getting all 12 of them. So what this is, I've never heard anybody talk about them on BookTube before, but I remember reading these as a high schooler. I think I read all 12 of them. I'm pretty sure I read all 12 of them. So it's called Avon True Romance. They're for teens. So they were basically romance novels written for teenagers. So there's no sexually explicit content. There's like barely any kissing, but they're written by like well-known historical romance authors with different like tropes and settings that you see a lot in historical romance. Most of these I was able to get off of thrift books or Better World books for anywhere from like $3 to $6. And these were originally $4.99. Two of them were much more expensive. One was like $12, and so I was like, okay, I'll buy that one. That's fine, whatever. And then one was like $30, $50, $70, depending on where you looked. And I was like, I cannot justify that. But then I had 11 and I was missing one. And I was like, oh. And I ended up finding it for like $25 on eBay, and I bought it. I have no regrets. I still think it's kind of crazy I did that, but I have no regrets. And I actually think I'm going to read these all next year. I want to reread them all. And I don't know, I think I might vlog the experience, but it'll be like over the course of several months, and then do it together and like talk about them. So some I remember not particularly liking and everything. Sorry, the lighting keeps being weird because what if I turn this off? Will that make it better? Oops. Probably. Okay. So yeah, so let's just go through them real quick. So the first one is Samantha and the Cowboy by Lorraine Heath, which I always have to remember this exists because I have since read Lorraine Heath like as an adult, and I thought that I had no idea who she was, but I have read her stuff as a child. I was in high school. I had already read romance novels, by the way. By the time I read these, like I had read written for adult romances. So you know, this is an American cowboy romance. This one I remember making me uncomfortable because it's one of those like she dresses as a boy stories I've talked about this before. Those make me very uncomfortable because it involves a lot of lying and embarrassment when they discover she's a girl, and secondhand embarrassment just makes me really uncomfortable, but that's fine. Next is Belle and the Beau by Beverly Jenkins. That's right, y'all, Beverly Jenkins. This is one that was like 12 bucks, and this thing is in like perfect condition. I feel like it was never read. So this is an American set historical. Is Anna and the Duke by Catherine Smith. This one I don't remember anything about at all, but I think this one is connected to other ones. There's a few that are like connected to each other. Gwyneth and the Thief by Margaret Moore. This one I think is kind of like a medieval. I remember reading this, but that's like all I remember about it. Nicola and the Viscount by Meg Cabot. This one I remember because I specifically remember not liking it. So we'll see how I feel this time around. Next is Catherine and the Pirate by Karen Hawkins. And I don't remember this either, but I have read a lot of Karen Hawkins as an adult. Miranda and the Warrior. Oh, and that's I think that one's British too, by Elaine Barbary. So this is kind of like controversial because this is like an Indian, it's a Native American romance. This one is tiny. I do remember reading this one several times. I'm guessing that a lot of people would say that this is probably problematic. We will see what I think when we go into it. Number 8 is Tess and the Highlander by May McGoldrick. I feel like, is this one where like, yes, a stranger washes ashore? I do remember that. I just remember that part. Next is Emily and the Scot by Catherine Smith. I think this is, yeah, this is related to the other Catherine Smith one. This is another one that's in like perfect, never been read condition. And this one, oh, okay, so funny story about this actually. This one I remember, I think they like bicker a lot because she's like English and he's Scottish. So, you know, of course. But I remember reading this one a bunch of times because there's like a couple I read a bunch. And the thing about this one, I think half the reason I liked this one is because the male cover model looks like a guy I danced with when I was in like middle school. He was like a few years older than me, but we danced in the same dance class. And I think that's why I liked this, because I had a crush on him. Oh, the times, the things you remember. Next is Amelia and the Outlaw by Lorraine Heath, which was probably my second favorite Another like cowboy-y one. Of course I loved this. It's right up my, first of all, Lorraine Heath. Who knew? High School Holly was all about the Lorraine Heath. Where was she this whole time? But this one is, he's like a criminal and he works for her dad as he's like, you know, trying to better himself after being in jail. And you know, your girl loves a story like that. I don't know. Maybe gives me Heartland vibes now. I don't know. Next is the one that cost me a lot of money and literally goes for like 75 bucks, and that is Josephine and the Soldier by Beverly Jenkins, the 2 Beverly Jenkins ones. Probably because she's so popular, probably why they're so expensive. I know her adult romances, some of those go for a lot of money too, so it's fine. And this one has obviously been well loved, so fun times. And this is definitely, it looks like the biggest one. It could just be because it's been read so many times, but it's definitely the biggest one. And then the last one is probably my favorite and the one that started this whole shebang, and that is Victoria and the Rogue by Meg Cabot, with these ugly stickers that I need to pull off. And I'm pretty sure this book is how I found these books, because I had read some other Meg Cabot as a high schooler, and this would have just been next to her in the library, like with her other books. And so I probably picked this up and then saw that there were more, and so then I searched for more and read the rest of them. I just remember loving this. Again, they bicker. I remember that. I remember this thing about like his shirt points, he wears them down instead of up like you're supposed to, and she gets mad at him and he's like, and then when he kisses her he's like, do you see why I do it? I think that's how it happens. Maybe he just tells her that's why he does it, so they don't poke the ladies when he kisses them. Oh my gosh, I loved this book as a high schooler. So I am so excited. I have no regrets about buying those. But I have, so those are 12 books that I had previously read and I just bought them on an impulse. Those are the books that I bought in the winter of 2020. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.